So today we're going to talk about building the intelligent enterprise powered by AI. So when we consider any enterprise, we look at it typically as a large grouping of processes kind of built together and integrated together to optimize for our business needs. As business leaders, when we're trying to optimize our businesses, we're looking at optimizing across all of those processes and optimizing different processes against different objectives. So the opportunity exists now to look at that a different way. With AI, we can change the way that we optimize processes. Processes and the sort of systems that they make up have been designed initially with humans in mind, so constrained by the limiting factors that we as humans have and our ability to process information at speed or make decisions based on certain information. The opportunity exists now with AI to look at how we can change that. So you can imagine optimizing an individual process. Then you can optimize a series of processes that make up a function or a business process flow. And then you can see how, if you broaden that concept to the whole complex system that is the business, made up of many processes and many decision points, the opportunity there is to optimize across the entire piece. That's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to talk about how AI enables that. Okay, an example. So let's talk about replenishment for retail grocery stores. And also maybe e-commerce. So you can consider that an individual warehouse might be replenishing e-com distribution centers and also stores. There's one side of that, which is the demand side. So we can consider how we have been using for the past several years machine learning type models to forecast the demand. That tells us how much we need to replenish into any individual stores. That informs us how much stock we need to hold in the warehouse for what duration. And we can consider spoilage either in the warehouse or in the store or during distribution. And we can consider other things like promotions that we might be running in parallel. And then we look at the supply chain side. So creating orders from suppliers and fulfilling those orders to the distribution center. And then just the pick process and the warehouse management process. So all of these different components make up a big complex system. And there are many different processes within that broader kind of function that could be optimized. The opportunity here is to look at how we might optimize those differently now that we have AI compared to traditionally optimizing them with machine learning and automation and more just data-driven decision making. This is the next step of that evolution. So why now? Well, with the arrival of Gen AI, and subsequently you'll probably have heard a lot about agents and agentic AI, the opportunity is to redesign the complex processes in a way that's not so constrained by the limitations of how humans process information. That gives us the chance to optimize and re-engineer the process to be more performant. When we consider optimization, we think about the speed of execution, but that's just one angle. The other angle is really the effectiveness in making the correct decision, the optimal decision, and that impacting the performance of the process against its goals, KPIs, or whatever else you might be measuring the process by. That's the opportunity, and the value is the value of optimizing that process as a whole. So if the process's goals is to optimize revenue or reduce costs or maximize throughput or whatever else, then that's what you're trying to optimize against. And the value associated with that process is the value opportunity that's available to you. Okay, so how do we achieve this? Well, we've got 4 primary considerations, and in the image that's just popped up, you'll see also other components that we need to consider from a principles perspective, but let's talk about the elements that are in the triangle, right? So intelligence, automation, optimization, and governance. When we talk about intelligence, we're talking about the AIs, right? And really we're talking here about the Gen AI components and the agentic AI components. So the ability to solve more complex problems with the element of reasoning included within that capability. Automation, so we have been automating processes for quite a while, and here we are able to do the same thing, but we're able to expand the automation to more complex tasks. And actually, the opportunity here is within that automation step is the re-engineering of the process to be more optimized. When we talk about optimization, we're talking about mathematical optimization. So this goes back to the machine learning stuff, but making the machine learning elements, those true mathematical and statistical optimizations, available also to the AIs to execute when they're carrying out their task. So this enables the AIs to carry out more complex mathematical functions based on the machine learning models that you've trained and deployed to serve specific purposes. And then governance, right? So all of this needs to be considered from a governance perspective. With any AI solution, we should talk about responsible AI. but also governing and managing and controlling and securing the AIs is critical. So we always have to consider governance from a lot of different angles when we're building these kinds of systems. And here we're talking about a complex system that might operate and execute against a broad set of responsibilities. When beginning this journey and building these solutions, there's a few things that we want to consider. Essentially, how we reimagine the business as a series of integrated processes with critical decision points, which need to be optimized. The cost of implementing a complex system across an organization is going to be relatively high. However, if we consider the concept of reuse across that system, so building templates that can be reused many times for similar processes or similar technical components of processes, this templating gives us an ability to accelerate and reduce the cost of implementing. The other thing is around extensibility, so picking technology platforms that allow you to add components stepwise as functionality is required. And then also interoperability. The assumption should be that many technologies that you use to support the operation of the organization will have AI embedded. So the ability of your AIs to call cross-platform is going to be really important. And then we think about recycling. So really here we're talking about maintenance of the system of the platform. So we want to make sure that we're able to upgrade and update all the different components. We're able to remove modular components from the system and replace them with other components as we look to upgrade. So the ability to easily maintain and monitor and manage that platform holistically. And value. Look, the critical point here is we want to build systems that are valuable. So how do we find the parts of the processes that we should be considering for optimization as a first step on the journey? The approach that we recommend is using methodologies like value chain mapping. So here you have the opportunity to identify the hot paths of value through the organization complex system and focus in on those, because those are the areas that will give you the biggest sort of bang for your buck in the initial development activities. So finding those high value points in the value chain and then strategically addressing those opportunities initially so that you yield a return, and then you can use the benefit from that return to continue building out the complex system and optimizing across the whole value chain. It's a stepwise iterative process of optimizing across the value chain, starting at the highest value end and then working your way back. So why am I excited about this right now? Well, look, the value opportunity is significant, and we just mentioned that, but really it's also the technical opportunity here. So we're at the stage where we're beginning to see, if you imagine maybe 5-10 years down the line, we consider how those optimized enterprises will outcompete the market, because they'll be more effective, more responsive, more able to execute processes more rapidly and more efficiently. So the opportunity now is for organizations to begin on their journey of that kind of transformation, that modernization. So I think it's a massively exciting time to start to develop the initial components of that broader ecosystem immediately and realize the value from that now. We're working with our clients, industry experts, and individuals working on this topic in academia, and forming a working group, a think tank, to discuss this and discuss how we can realize the benefits associated with it, how we can architect it, how we can identify the significant value opportunities within our organizations. If you'd like to be involved, get in touch using the link attached.